Every great story starts with fire. Kia ora and welcome to Low and Slow Aotearoa, the podcast where fire meets flavour, stories rise with the smoke, and we celebrate the slow, smoky side of New Zealand life. I'm Ruben. Grab a seat by the pit. You're in good company here. Oh, mate, those two briskets that I did for Christmas, they went down a hot treat. The neighbours loved it. The in-laws loved it. It was gone. It was the top notch. Now, most of us aren't importing fancy wood or cooking like the Americans do on YouTube. We're using what's around us, and honestly, that's not a bad thing. So today, I'm talking New Zealand woods, local flavour, and how we actually cook low and slow here. This is all about celebrating the unique elements of New Zealand barbecue culture. This is what this is all about. When it comes to flavours, what you would picture flavours here in New Zealand is very simple, very fresh, not complicated, not overdoing things, not like marinating a slab of beef for a long period of time. We just season it and put it on. You let the flavour of the meat come through. Let that be the star of the show. A lot of herbs, citrus, smoky, earthy flavours. The earthiness really comes from the hangi, but we'll talk about that a bit later. When it comes to native woods that we can use, there's not a whole lot of options because some wood can actually make you sick. I was going to use some totara wood, but I heard that actually can make you nauseous. And it's kind of like hit and miss. Like, yeah, some people can get sick from it, but it's usually used for keeping warm, like on the fireplace. It's really hot, it burns hot. I was actually watching that video of Andy Cooks. He's that Kiwi chef, and he went and did a hangi, and they were using kawakawa leaves as seasoning, and it's like gives it a peppery taste. I had no idea. I might have actually had that before in a hangi, but I would have never known. But that's something else that's just like in the back, not in the backyard as such, but it's another local flavour that may give it a bit more natural, simplistic feel to it. And the wood that they used to heat up the stones was manuka. And manuka is really good wood to use for smoking meat as well. It's a very mild, all-round kind of wood. You can use it for dark meat, white meat, fish. It'll give it that smoky flavour without fully overpowering it. So when you use white meat, like you do a chicken or a pork, sometimes the wood really just it overpowers it and you can't really taste the meat itself. So manuka is a really good choice. It's readily accessible. It's more available in Aotearoa. Now, where to get it from? I actually have no idea. I think people just have trees on their property, like on their farms or whatever, and they just chop it down and off to the races they go. But I've heard a lot of people use it, and I think I used it once. Wasn't bad, not bad at all. Pahutakawa is the other one that we like to use. Now, I'm not saying go chop down a pahutakawa because they're a native tree, they're protected. I don't know how you get around it and able to get some. But if it's from a local source, like if they're from a proper supplier, they're usually pretty sweet as. It's more of a strong smoke, like really strong. So you typically use it for like red meat or fish. But it's always good to mix it with other kinds of wood. So if you mix a bit of pahutakawa logs while you're cooking, put some pahutakawa on there with some manuka or some oak, a bit more mild. That way it won't overpower it. But you'll still get a bit of the flavour, still get a bit of that smoke, and it'll be choice. Guaranteed. So when we use things that are more native to New Zealand, I feel it almost tastes better because we're using things that aren't imported. You can't go and get them over there in the States. You can't go to America and, oh yeah, we're using manuka. Nah, they don't use that. We use it here. And it gives it a more classic New Zealand feel, New Zealand taste to it, which is, hey, it's unique. And this is what it's all about. It's about celebrating the unique flavours and the things that we use here in Aotearoa. So we don't have lot of options when it comes to native woods to use, but typically Manuka and Pahutakawa, they're the two ones to use. They'll give you the best flavour, they're trialled, they're tested for many, many years. So, hey, if you can get your hands on some, like if someone's chopping down a tree, like your neighbour or somebody is chopping down a tree of tea tree or Manuka, or even Pahutakawa, but be careful with that. Hey, get in on it. Grab some. You will have to dry it out, properly season it, but give it a go, man. I would. If I heard somebody was chopping down the tree, I'd be down there with my car with a trailer, loading that up. Okay, so we've covered that. Those are the two main woods that we use. Now we're going to talk about the type of meat that we use. I think pork and beef are really popular in New Zealand to smoke with, mainly because we have a lot of beef, we have a lot of cows, but obviously New Zealand's known for their sheep, so lamb is a great classic Kiwi choice to smoke with. I've done a bone-in leg of lamb. I don't think that was one of the first ones I did, and I don't think I did it for long enough. The smoke flavour was there, but the fatty mouthfeel, I wasn't too keen on that. I mean, that's kind of typical for lamb, to be honest. But I will give that another go one day. I think I will. A mate of mine does lamb loin. He told me about that. He tried that, and that's way better because there's not a lot of fattiness in the loin. It's more lean. So, because I've done a bone-in leg of lamb, and the bro's done the lamb loin, there could be other cuts of the lamb to use. Mutton? Nah, mutton might be too chewy. But you never know. Try and test some things. That's what it's all about. It's about trying it and seeing if it works. If it works, awesome. You got a feed on your hands. When it comes to comparing Kiwi barbecue and like American barbecue, we don't worship one region. I was talking about Texas barbecue, but we don't worship Auckland barbecue or Wellington barbecue. It's all the same. We borrow and we adapt. The Kiwi style is more relaxed, less rule-based, more, if it tastes good, it's good. Venison is another good choice. I have personally not smoked any kind of venison before, but I have tried venison salami. I went down to Whirianga, down in Coromandel, and they have their little farmer market, and somebody there was telling me about it. Yeah, he hunts them legally. He smokes the venison and puts into salami. Holy hell, man. Venison salami is a whole nother game. Get it? Game. But it's one of those things it's not salty or too fatty. You can eat it just casually. Chop up a bit of salami with some cheese and just eat that stuff straight. I use some in, what did I use it in? I put some on a pizza. Do homemade pizzas a lot. That was really good. But I just like eating it straight. And he does all different kinds of flavours as well. I think he did one with garlic. I can't remember the other ones actually. Oh, he did a hot one. And one with paprika. So they're doing things locally and putting this stuff out there. And I'm surprised that nobody really knows too much about it, or not more people are doing that. It's not a typical thing that you'd smoke, but it's something that we can hunt and use. So instead of just going down to the supermarket, getting a cut of meat from some big chain, if you're a hunter, hunt some venison, smoke it, see what happens. You could be pleasantly surprised. Now, us Kiwis are pretty big on fish. We're surrounded by the ocean, so we take advantage of the bounty that is before us. Go out fishing, catch some fish. I've never been fishing, so I've never actually smoked fish either. I'm talking about things that I haven't done, but I know is very popular. Snapper, I do know, is pretty good to smoke with. It's a good all-round fish anyway. But you can't just put it on your kettle or your offset and smoke it like you would a brisket or ribs or anything like that, because fish is very strong. And when you smoke it, it becomes even stronger. So typically, people will have a whole separate thing for that. you can get a fish smoker. Just a box, just a real small one that would fit just the fish, and then that's it. You put wood chips in there, and you light them, and you just smoke it. There's no real heat as such. It's just wood chips smoked through the whole thing. It can be dirty smoke, clean smoke, doesn't matter. But smoked fish is really popular. But you got to have that small one. Don't put it on your normal one. It'll just be too much fish, and everything else you make on your normal smoker will just taste like fish. So I wouldn't go for that. You just smoke it and just tuck into it. Pull it apart. No forks needed. It's flaky. It's smoky. That's all you need. Quite a few times actually. I'll be on site, and some workmates would have done some fishing over the weekend. Smoked up a fish. They bring it to site, and they just share it, and invite everyone on site to grab some. They're like, bro, you want some smoked fish? Oh yeah, sweet. And everyone just grabs a little bit off, has a little feed on site. That's what it's all about. Now, I'm not really big on seafood, but I've heard that the green-lipped mussels are really good on the smoker. Smoked mussels. You see them in cans and stuff at the supermarket. So that could be something to try. If you like seafood, if you like smoked fish or anything, try smoking some mussels. See how that goes. I think one thing as well that I've forgotten about is the weather. The difference from cooking barbecue in America, especially in Texas. Texas is hot, it's dry, sweet as. But here in New Zealand, especially in Auckland, you get a lot of wind and rain in the same freaking day. And wind, man, I'm always battling with the freaking wind. When I'm smoking, I freaking hate it. So I have to block it off with like big bits of plywood or chairs or something just to stop the wind from blowing my fire out. And then it rains. I mean, luckily I got shelter, so it's easy for me to chuck it in the carport or under shelter, no problem. But that's also a big thing. You could be sunny one day, and then it could be pissing down with rain the next. But once again, we adapt and we plan. Especially because we use barbecue as like a social anchor. You know, we have a couple of beers, put some food on the grill, kids are running around, and mates are like just turning up for a feed. No problem, that's how we roll. You want to come for a feed? I'll let you know. Hey, I've got some food going. You want to come around? Have a couple beers, socialise, chill out. That's the Kiwi way, man. Brisket is something that we're always trying to chase here in New Zealand as well. I think we favour whole chickens over like a massive brisket, mainly because of the cost and the availability. So doing a whole chicken, as long as you brine it, that's quite a staple here in New Zealand as well, I reckon. I mean, briskets are kind of hard to find whole. You got to go to like Gilmore's or your local butcher and actually ask for them, but the cost is just crazy. Now, I spoke about using kawakawa, but you can also use horopito, which is also something that will give it heat. But if you like it more sweeter, manuka honey is a big thing here. Manuka honey has a lot of benefits to it than other basic honeys would. You use it in glazes. You can use it on spritzes. You put it in your spritz bottle. Actually, that's a good idea. Yeah, I might actually try that next time. Now, if we're talking about local flavours and the Kiwi style and how to cook, can't go past the hangi. The hangi is like the oldest method on how to cook food. So, not like make a campfire or anything like that. Nah. So I've never actually done it, but I've seen it being done and I've had it. We actually had it as our Christmas breakup feed at work last year. Whole lot of individually made hangi containers. Had a bit of chicken, I think it had a bit of pork in there, or lamb, and stuffing, kumara, everything. And then to the side, also had a fry bread and a steamed pudding. Oh man, you can't have hangi without steamed pudding. It's kind of like a cake, but it's steamed, and custard on top. Delicious. But what you do is you dig a hole, kind of wide, more narrow, but it's got to be deep. You got to dig that boy deep, and it's cooked in the ground with meat, veg, and you put them in metal baskets, usually lined with puka leaves or just tin foil. And then you have the hot stones or metal chains. I've seen someone use railway spikes and railway rails that they probably got at the scrapyard or something like that. So it's all about heat, and the metal holds the heat. The hot rocks is like the traditional way to do it. But hey, if it works, it works. You put the baskets on top, so you got to heat those stones up, and usually they just make a fire. Once they're all nice and hot, like red hot, you put the baskets on top, and you cover it in burlap sacks soaked in water, not just dry. It's going to be soaked in water because they're going to be this is going to be like steamed almost. Cover it in dirt and just let it cook. There's no checking it with a meat thermometer or going in there and figuring out, oh, is it nearly done? Nah, you just got to trust the process. It's a traditional way on how to cook, and they still do it today. Not as often as it used to be done, because now you can just put stuff on the barbecue or whatever, but it's a good way to feed a crowd. If you've got a big whānau, man, a hangi's the best way to do it. It's a people pleaser. So, yep, you got your meat, you got your veg, and stuffing. Oh man, you got to have the stuffing in there as well. I don't know exactly how they make the stuffing. Normal breadcrumbs and things like that. And the meat is typically lamb, pork, and chicken. Or mutton. Sometimes mutton. With kumara, potato, cabbage, and pumpkin. And the pumpkin, you don't even need to chop the pumpkin up. Don't chop it up. You just put it straight in there. Whole pumpkins. They'll cook. They may look charred and may look wrong on the outside, but nah, trust me. They're good on the inside. So that'll be like 2-3 hours. No looking, just food in the ground. And it gives it that nice, earthy, smoky flavour. Now the smoke with the hangi doesn't really come through. It's more like a convection oven with the steam and the indirect heat. But that's where it uses similar cooking techniques to the traditional Texas low and slow cooking. Indirect, smoke, and earthy. So it's same, but different. They're very much similar. So you got your typical Texas barbecue, which focuses more on smoke than heat, where hangi focuses more on indirect heat and a little less on smoke. It's still going to be smoky. It's still going to be tender, juicy, deliciously cooked. But if you got the two plates, like if I got a plate of American barbecue and then a plate of hangi, you put them next to each other, the similarities of how they are cooked and what's on the plate, so very similar. If you had smoked meat from like a barbecue restaurant or something like that in America, you have your meat, you got like corn on the cob, and you got cornbread. You got your plate of hangi, you got your meat, you got your kumara, potato, and fry bread. You gotta have fry bread with that. That cleans the plate. So there you go. You got both of them have meat, veg, and a bread. It's a real cultural tie-in. Just small things, the traditional Māori ways on how to cook, and the things that they use into low and slow barbecue that we do today. I've got this workmate, and whenever I see him, we always end up talking about food, and he shows me what he's been cooking. He's got a big family, so when he cooks on a big scale. And I'm always so amazed about how he does it and the ways that he uses to cook. He does low and slow cooking, he does the hangi, he does the pig on the spit, he does heaps of stuff. I don't know how he does it, but it's these things that are passed down from generation to generation on how to cook, on what to use. And the methods that get used will then be passed down to his kids and to his kids. And that's what I love about it, is these things continue on from generation to generation. I think that's a good place to leave it off for today, eh? If this one was helpful, give the show a follow. It helps more than you think. Keep the fire steady, trust the process, and cook it low and slow. Catch ya.